I just came in through the Facebook.
What?
I just came in through the link on Facebook.
Did you really?
Yeah,
Maybe
must
the
be
phones are working.
my superior computer skills probably got me through there.
That
Hey,
is true.
Greg, you're impressive. So,
Right.
Casey, is your Facebook working?
Mine works.
Well, let me find out. Doesn't appear to be working. No?
Mine is not coming up on my computer right now.
Facebook's not?
Mm-mm.
Facebook is down. I wonder if it would be possible to track productivity
Just spikes up right now.
right now versus, yeah, that'd be an interesting stat.
It's also
Probably a lot of
interesting you went
people
down
trying to hit
lunch.
the refresh button.
Oh, mine's up now.
Oh, is yours up now? All right, hang on.
Yeah.
Casey, I might have you do the recording for me.
Ooh.
Mine's not up.
Mine's not up either.
That's weird.
Maybe
Yep.
I've got admin access. They didn't
Yeah,
tell
do
me.
you? I was like, I don't even know if you do.
I'm just paying you back for the showing time admin access, Rachel. That's all.
There we go. Suzanne, is your Facebook working?
Is it not working? I don't know. I haven't been on Facebook.
You should try to open it.
Is it not working for people?
I don't know.
It's
Not
not.
for me and Brian.
So my feed loaded, but I can tell it's like an old feed.
It's
And then
like caked in.
yeah, I like.
Yeah, mine all says like 2 hours, 20 hours, 18 hours.
No, on your computer, Suze. I want you to look on your computer.
I
Sorry.
got
That's what
23
you mean.
minutes ago.
Who looks on your computer for Facebook?
Yeah, that's why Rick was able to get in. Rick's a pro.
It's just spinning forever and ever and ever.
Yep. Well, we'll see what kind of group we get.
This is like the new series of Red Dawn. You know, when they used to in that movie where they jumped out of the plane? It's no, now we shut down Facebook first. I'm telling you.
Oh man. Well, for everyone joining, we're struggling to get Facebook is not working on our computers, so we were chatting about that. Michael,
Some may call it a national emergency. I don't know yet.
I know, wasn't there a
right
few
now.
years ago when Facebook went down for like a day or half a day or something, and people were like,
It wasn't it like the AT&T phones or something that were down too? Wasn't there like, I don't remember.
I feel like this has happened before.
Yeah. Nothing yet.
I feel like an official Zoomer. I had to get a light because I've been a black blob on every Zoom call lately. So I just plugged it in right before this call, and it is bright.
You look good.
Literally just put one in too.
Suzanne looks better than yours, Dustin.
Yes, she does. Absolutely.
$20 Amazon purchase.
Doesn't have the glare from the head, I think is the problem.
I tilt my head up, maybe you see it on my forehead.
So Rachel, what do you think? There's no reason to try to Zoom this, or live stream this, I guess, right?
Nope, I've already got it recording, so we'll get it uploaded after. But it's not working for me, so
It's not working for me.
Well, guys, I don't know. What do you think, Dustin? You want to just go forward with your presentation? It's going to be probably a smaller group than normal, but
No problem.
it'll be what it is, I guess.
That's all good. I always picture I'm speaking to thousands anyway, so
Yeah.
it's fine.
it's
It's
great,
fine.
great mindset.
Yeah, awesome. Do I have access to share my screen?
Yes, you do.
Yeah,
Okay,
and here,
cool.
let me introduce you real quick. So first of all, thanks for everybody for joining us on FasterFunds Live this Wednesday. It looks like we've got quite a few people jumping on here, so it's good to see everybody. Rachel's been doing some polls. I don't know if you guys have seen the polls in the Facebook group, but one of the top topics that our people are interested in learning more about is how to get more deals, how to get better at acquisitions. So, you know, we reached out to our trusted vendor, Dustin Hoog, who's got an awesome coaching business, teaching other people how to buy houses and rehab them and resell them and build a portfolio of rentals. Because that's what you've done over the last, what, about 5 years now, Dustin? 6, something like that?
Longer. It's like 8. 2017, I bought my first rental. I met you guys at the end of 2017.
Isn't that amazing? Time flies.
It does.
So anyway, Dustin's going to be talking about that this morning. So thanks for showing up, everybody. If you're able to, I'd love to have you show up on the screen, you know, with your video on. And, you know, these calls are just more fun if there's a lot of feedback. So ask Dustin a lot of questions, heckle him if you need to, challenge him if you need to. So anyway, let's get started. Dustin, you ready to take it over?
Yep, absolutely. Appreciate it. Cool. All right, I'm going to share my screen right here, and let me get it shared here. All right, can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Awesome. Perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and get started, but obviously the goal of this is just to help you guys find more deals, just like everybody in this business is trying to find more deals. So we're just going to go ahead and get it started. I only have one screen, so if there are questions, Rachel or Brian, if you can stop, and I will make sure I get to those questions. I just can't see you guys right now. So
You got it.
all right, let's take it away. So question for the group, and then again, anybody of course can answer, but what do all of these businesses have in common, do you think? A lawyer, chiropractor, McDonald's, you know, your corner bar, real estate investors, a sign company. What do you think all of these businesses have in common? And I can go to anyone.
They need marketing.
They need marketing. Okay, yes. It's a lead generation business.
Oh.
Right? So Gary Keller in one of his books said that every business you're possibly in, it's a lead generation business first, and then it's whatever. So I'm a lead generator, and then I'm a lawyer. I'm a lead generator, and then I'm McDonald's. I'm a lead generator, and then I'm a real estate investor. This business is no different. I don't care if you're looking to do fix and flips, build single family rentals, do Airbnb, short-term rentals, mid-time rentals. You have to lead generate, or you don't have a product to actually do this with. And our business is how to purchase property. So we're going to talk about that today. All right, next slide. All right, first one is it's marketing and lead generation. And don't be a secret agent doing this. You have to be very loud of what you're doing. You have to be loud and in front of people and let them know that this is what you're looking to do. I'm looking for X. I'm looking to buy a single family house in Florissant with less than a $50,000 rehab with a $200,000 ARV, right? Let people know that you're looking for it, because if you're, you know, I'm going to be a real estate investor, and then you're not telling someone about it, guess what? It's going to be really hard to find deals, right? So I think that's the number one thing that I tell people, and anybody that we coach, is you got to let people know. Now, there's obviously ways to do that good and ways to do that bad. You don't have to be slimy and show up in people's face. The good thing is people like talking about real estate, so you can bring this conversation into, or you can bring this topic into most conversations. So, all right. This guy right here, I don't know if he's on the call, but I was at a seminar that Jeff Garner did probably 7 years ago. I mean, it was pretty fresh into the business, and he gave a piece of advice, and no, it's not the length of the shorts men should wear. I don't know if he's on there, but I will credit this to him. Don't tell him that. But in that seminar, he said, don't think of yourself as because I'm still a real estate agent, but as a real estate agent or a wholesaler or a flipper or a landlord or whatever it is, but think of yourself as an acquisition specialist. And that's what you are. And I'll tell you, that advice and that mindset shift everything I've ever done in real estate. Even when I go in as an agent, if I'm listing someone's house, I go in first as an acquisition specialist. And every house I've listed since then, I've made an offer for. I don't get most of them, but I still make an offer because that is who I am first. I'm an acquisition specialist. So everybody on this call and anybody that's hearing this out in the Facebook world when it's live, start thinking of yourself that way if you're trying to do this business, because that's what you do first. That tracking so far, guys?
Yep.
Awesome. All right. So Here's some of my favorite ways to find deals. And we're going to go through all of these, but just real quick down the list: personal referrals, SOI, driving for dollars, agents, wholesalers, Facebook groups, direct mail, Zillow, real estate investment associations, attorneys, and then actually on the market, on the MLS of houses that you can find and where to buy that at. All right. So first, I would say about 60% of people that we bring on into the coaching organization purchase their first house from a personal referral or SOI, because that's the first thing that we have them start doing. Is people want to help you, whatever you're doing. And when you start telling people that, hey, I'm looking to rehab houses, I'm looking to buy as is, that kind of thing, someone knows someone who needs to let go of a house, right? One of our, I was talking to this guy. I was like, yeah, put this out to your social media, your SOI, your church. He had 5 leads in 24 hours because of people at his church. And I mean, he's way up past Troy, actually. But it's like, because people are like, oh yeah, I actually work with this guy and his uncle just died. Now he doesn't know what to do with his house. Or this one guy had a rental for 15 years and now he's just done with it, right? So people have these things. You just have to be out there telling them what you're looking for.
Do you, can you
Go
talk, do you recommend using Facebook, or how do you recommend doing that, Dustin? What's the best ways to do that?
Great question. So my, I guess, choice of social media, because I am kind of a boomer, I feel like sometimes, is Facebook. So Facebook does very well for me. But if you're more of an Instagram guy, guess what? Be on Instagram. If you're more of, you're big in your kid's school, then it's just talking to people about it, right? So I use every method out there. But Facebook to me has worked very well. I was just getting ready to say, still to this day, probably 2 to 3 times a year, I will post on Facebook that Jenna and I are looking for a house to buy. And we probably buy 3-5 houses a year just from those posts, right?
Would you say a lot of your students, when you first bring this up, are reluctant to do it? And if so, why?
I would say the ones that are not active on social media are, right? Because they're just reluctant to put anything out there.
Yeah.
Right? The ones who are social media heavy, sometimes they do it too fast and they don't even have an LLC and they don't even have money. And they're like, I have all these houses. I'm like, great. Now we have 3 weeks of work to do before we can go look at that house. So it kind of differs there. The people also, if people are trying to do this with their other job, not knowing.
Yeah.
Right. So then I just teach them how to hide those people from their Facebook and it's fine. Right. So, but again, talking to people. I mean, I have story after story where us or students have purchased the house because the dad of another son on the soccer team, their mom passed away or whatever it may be. Right. The Brownleys, I know, have bought a few houses that way because their daughter's friends in the soccer team. You just got to let people know. Right. And then people will all start finding deals for you because now it's on their mind, right? So this is, again, the number one, and it's free also. We're going to talk about some paid marketing and things that you can do, which is great avenues. But this one's free. And if you're not looking to be, a faster house and buy 200 or 300 houses a year, guys, this can make you a very good living. Easily a 6-figure a year living, flipping houses by just using this one lead source right here. So again, don't be a secret agent and get out there and start talking to people. All right.
Dustin, a quick thing
Yep.
about this too, be consistent. I've been doing this for almost 5 years now. And my uncle literally just this morning said, hey, I ran across a guy at work. They're getting ready to sell his mom's house. So, a lot of people would look at it, but that long game, like you said, can be hugely beneficial. And you mentioned it, it's free. I feel like a lot of investors want to jump in and start paying for stuff, but this one is absolutely free. So thank you.
Yep, absolutely. All right, driving for dollars. So what that is truly you're driving around and you're looking for houses that need to be worked. One of my favorite parts about this source of lead generation is no one else has this list per se, because you're out there creating this, right? Now, Brody turns 8 in a few weeks, but I tell you, he's been driving for dollars a lot. And to this day, if we're driving, look at that house, right? Its windows are boarded up or whatever. He can find a house and put it in a list for driving for dollars. So this is a great way, again, a free way that if you have the time to drive around, you have ways to do this, to start building up a list, right? You can tag a house, put a note on the door, you can mail the house, you can skip trace it if you want to call it. I know some people are reluctant to cold call, and the people who do cold call actually do pretty well in it. And then you follow up. So it is definitely a marketing game, and it's a job, but it's a great source out there because you can go find deals that no one else has. And then I'm also going to say, if you ever order DoorDash or Grubhub and the driver speaks English, have a conversation with them and tell them that you will pay them for referrals that they send you. I'm telling you, these people drive all day long, and honestly, they're looking for extra money, right? So that is a great way that you can have people out there driving for dollars for you. There are obviously systems out there. Deal Machine, that's a vendor now, correct? Did I see that?
As of Monday, like
Yeah,
As of
they are.
Monday. Great. Awesome. So Deal Machine's a great one. There's other ones out there, but they're all fantastic ways to drive for dollars. And you just put some time in. Again, if you put time into lead generation, because again, you are in a lead generation business, you're going to get paid for your time, right? Experts. Now I did this presentation a while ago. I don't know if this is still, but it said then 1 in 10 driving for dollar leads are good. That does not mean 1 in 10 driving for dollar leads you're going to purchase. That just means they're good. Okay. So let's make that clear there. All right. So next.
Do you use Deal Machine, Dustin?
We have in the past. Yeah. Absolutely. All right. Real estate agents. There's a lot of real estate agents out there. Honestly, there's too many real estate agents out there, if you ask me. But these people should be on the front line of this industry, right? So go out and talk to agents. Everyone knows one agent or 5. Go out them and tell them that this is what you're looking for too. And I know I've coached a lot of people in like these rural markets like Warrenton or past Wentzville or up in Troy, Hawk Point, all these places. They're not getting as much marketing as like, let's say our Florissant houses are, right? We get mail all the time to our Florissant houses. One's way out there. People are probably going to look to the real estate agent community first to find something. So if you can go to the local real estate agent, that community, I don't know, I can't see who's all on here, but if Megan Hauser's on here, she's a good example of that. She was someone who lives out in Washington. So I'm like, you have a benefit here. So go to all the local, especially the old school agents in that town and say, hey, I can be your buyer, right? Because so many of these houses that need work that maybe can't be sold on the market, these agents don't know necessarily what to do with. So just make sure you're on top of mind with these agents. Again, like Casey said, this is a consistency game. And I'm not, yes, you can mail all the agents out there, but find a few that can find houses. And a lot of them in these rural areas, they need your help just as much as you need their help, right? One I didn't put on here, but was an auction company. And we had a student that she was walking out of a grocery store, saw that they were a real estate auction company, contacted them. She bought 2 houses from them within the first 6 months, right? So agents, auction companies, they're out there. You just have to do the work and go communicate with them. That tracking so far? Cool. And let me know if there's any questions. All right. Wholesalers. First, wholesalers are not bad people, guys. All right. They're in the job to make as most money as they possibly can because it's their business, right? But I hear so many negative things about wholesalers and it drives me nuts. I don't care. I don't know if Bert's on this call or any of them are on this call. I don't care what they have that house listed for. I just don't. Sometimes I don't even look. I'm going to make an offer for what I believe my deal can come in. If they don't take it, that's cool. If they find another buyer that's going to pay higher than me, that's cool as well. But I'm still going to make those offers from those wholesalers. And eventually one of these days we'll come together. All right. But meet as many of them as you can. One of the big ways is there's a lot of these bandit signs. We see them out there on the corners. We buy houses, that kind of thing. Call those bandit signs and tell them you're a buyer. What's your inventory like? Because what blows my mind is I feel like I know all the investors in St. Louis sometimes. Then I meet someone who has 97 houses, in Blackjack or something crazy. I'm like, who are you? Right? The reality of it is there are a lot more investors out there than we think. There's a lot more wholesalers out there doing business than we know. So if I see a sign, I'm going to call them and just be like, hey, put me on your list. What do you got? Right? And they're so taken back by that call most of the time that if they have something, they're trying to send it to you, right? Because they're out there hustling too. And now you just helped them find their disposition list, right? So of course, RIAs, we'll get into RIAs after a while. And then here's a big one. I do not care how much a wholesaler makes when they sell me a property. It does not matter to me at all. Because again, I did my due diligence. I put an offer in that worked for me. If they made $50,000 on it, awesome. If they made $3,000 on them, awesome. I don't care. I got the house for what I wanted to get the house for, right? I think that is a huge thing to learn here. And I hear this all the time. Well, they're going to make $35,000 and I'm only going to make 20 on this house. Okay. They have the house. You don't. Do you want the house? It's simple, guys. So that is my big role when working with wholesalers is who care how much they make. I put 2 links on here. Obviously, most of the people know who Faster Deals is in this call. Core, although a competitor, I buy from Core all the time. And the disposition person there will tell you, he barely even tells me how much they're asking for the house because I don't care. I'm just going to look, I'm going to run numbers, and I'm going to make an offer. Right? So those are big ones. So any comments, questions, concerns about these so far?
I got to make a comment on, I've never seen anybody spell wholesaler like you do. So that's a new version of it.
Not my strong suit.
You know where your strong suit is, right?
I do. There was a kind of a side story, but there was a meme of Sean Whalen. I don't know if you know who he is. He does the Lions Not Sleep or Lions Not Sheep clothing line. But he put this long post out there and someone commented and talked about his spelling. So then he put a picture of his bank balance there. And I really liked that. That was his rebuttal to them talking about his spelling. I was like, there you go. Not that I would do that to you, Brian, but yes.
No. So let's dig into wholesalers just a little bit more, because I feel like that's probably the #1 source for a lot of people here.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I think there's a lot of different strategies around buying from wholesalers, and there's a lot of myths around buying from wholesalers. And I think you've kind of combated a few of the myths already, but let's talk about the strategies for just a minute. So do you you talked about meet as many as you can. I think so. Most of I'll say the bigger wholesalers out there, they got their email lists and so forth. Do you do anything specific to try to get around that and try to get people to call you first or be on the top of their list? Anything along those lines that you do, Dustin?
So that's a great question. So especially in the beginning, if you're just starting out there, because this is a relationship business. So when you're a lead generator, right, which that's what I consider myself, my lead generation towards wholesalers is developing relationships with those wholesalers. Right. So when I first got into this, Dennis was actually the dispo guy at Faster Deals. So Dennis and I definitely developed a relationship. We went out to lunch a couple of times. We had a few drinks. Right. So that kind of thing. Did it work where he was going to call me first? I never know, but I know I bought a lot of houses from him at the time. But if I needed a house, I was calling them to make sure I was on top of mind. Right. Because I believe everyone, especially dispo people, like the path of least resistance. So if they have these houses now and they're like, all right, I gotta go find a buyer. And then Dustin calls and say, hey, I'm looking for a house. You're like, you know what? I was just thinking about you, Dustin. I'm sure you were, but so they will send it to you. So I think that's how, I don't know if I'm going to get called first per se, but I'm definitely going to be on top of mind because I want them to have the path of least resistance to me, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I agree with that 100%. I totally agree with that. What's the other thing that you think wholesalers look for? I'll just throw out some ideas here and you can expand on a little bit. But when you're buying from a wholesaler, would you agree that they want to make sure that you actually know what you're doing and that you can close on the deal and that you got your funds lined up? And how do you combat that to make sure that they believe in you and so forth?
Yeah, great question. I would also say one of the things they're looking for too is feedback.
Yeah.
right? So if I'm sent to a house, I'm going to give that guy feedback, even if I'm not going to buy the house, right? It's very rare I don't make an offer on a house I go to, even if they're extremely low, but they want feedback. I am not buying a house in Overland yesterday because I just don't know enough about this retaining wall thing. Like there's a lot going on there. It's not, wasn't perfect for us. So I didn't even make a low ball offer because that's just too much for me. But I made sure they know why I'm not buying that house, right? So I think feedback's a good one. Yeah, don't make offers unless you can't close or unless you can close. That's a big one. If you, are using hard money and they have to do the walkthrough, let them know that, right? And be like, listen, this is what's going to happen. This is how it works. So make sure that you're communicating with them and let them know, listen, I can close even if they don't give me the exact amount for the house I'm looking for, because I do have some of my own funds in it. They're just going to pay, so we can work that out. So I'm going to close, but they still have to walk it, right? So make sure it's a communication thing, right? So that's what I would, and always make an offer.
Can you talk just a little bit about, I know you buy a lot yourself and you also have students that are newer. There's some wholesalers out there now that aren't taking contingent contracts. And so you gotta write firm offers and you put down significant earnest money deposits. I know that probably doesn't bother you because you're going to close, but
Right.
How do you coach that through the newer person?
Yeah, great question. So first of all, I talk to them. We know who those people are that aren't going to, take the contingency of that. And I make sure that the hard money, and obviously a shout out to FasterFunds, there's very rare where they're going to say, we're absolutely not doing this deal, yet they might not give you exactly what you're looking for the deal, right? So I let the student know, listen, I believe in this deal. You believe in this deal. Our numbers might be, because I might be a little bit more aggressive than, FasterFunds is. Are you okay of having to put a little bit of money down on the purchase and have a little bit of skin in the game? So we talk through that and be like, if you are, then I'd be like, let's go ahead and write the non-contingent there, because you're going to close, whether they're going to give you all of it or maybe they're going to come down. I've obviously been in it and I help them enough that I know pretty much what's going to happen with that. So that helps. Earnest money doesn't bother me as long, because I've heard this, I'm not going to name names, earnest money goes to the title company and no one else.
Yeah, good point.
Earnest money goes to the title company, right? Jenna was at one of the investors and she was meeting this new investor. They were talking and there was a wholesaler was coming there to meet this woman there to pick up a $10,000 earnest money check, and they went and made out to her. And I'm like, absolutely not. Like I started panicking, right? Yeah. Earnest money goes to a title company. If they want to hold $5,000 of earnest money at a title company, I don't care, right? Because all it's going to do is bring less money to close at that time, right? So that's what I think about title company and the contingencies thing. If you absolutely cannot close unless your lender gives you exactly what you're asking for, then maybe that's not the deal.
Yeah.
Right. So we talk through that on everyone we're doing. And I've also, especially some of the wholesalers out there that I have the relationship with, I'm like, listen, let us just walk through it. It's going to be a couple of days. It's going to be fine, that kind of thing. And because of the relationships you build and the confidence they have in you, they let that happen as well. Yeah. Well, great questions. So anything else about wholesalers you guys have any questions about? Nope. All right, let's keep going. Facebook and Facebook groups. Again, this is my method of social media. I get that there's newer, fancier ones. Facebook, I've made a lot of money on Facebook, right? So I'm going to tell you to join all the groups around you, and there are a lot. Every real estate investing group you can join, I would join. And then I'm also going to push back on you have a buy box, right? Or this is not what this training is about, but you should have a buy box. Once you have a buy box and you know that certain zip codes, join those groups out there too. Like I'm a part of Hazelwood Buy Sell Group because I've bought houses from Hazelwood Buy Sell Group, right? Because I will put on there, now sometimes they delete it, that's okay. But I put on there, hey, I'm looking for a house in the area. If anybody needs a quick sale, right? Again, it's just a way to get my message out there for free right, to the masses. So I would join every possible Facebook group you can. And we'll talk a little bit more, a protocol I have, but Facebook groups is a big one. On all the investor Facebook groups, just make a post. This is what I'm looking for. Wholesalers, put me on your list, right? Because again, although I think they should, all wholesalers don't go to the RIAs, right? So where are you going to meet them? How are they going to meet you? You have to put in the work because you want to do this job. Making sense? Post your Facebook profile. This kind of goes back to that SOI, but let people know that this is what you're doing. Let your SOI, which is called sphere of influence, or your network, Brian calls them connectors. You can develop connectors this way by people knowing what you're doing and they need a house to sell. I think, what was it, last week, Suzanne mentioned how she bought one from Financial Advisors. That's a connector for her, right? They just need to know you and let them know because you're doing them a favor. If you put a servant's hat on, you're going to buy more houses. Right? Awesome.
Well said.
Direct mail. All right. Now we're getting into the little bit more of the paid marketing aspect of things. I don't know if Justin's on here with Ballpoint, but he can probably say my numbers, how they are right now. When we were mailing, this is kind of what we were at. Direct mail is scalable and predictable. It is by far the most way I get yelled at, just hands down, right? I get yelled at a lot more if we're mailing. We're not mailing now. We've mailed a lot in the past. Again, experts are saying 90 days at $3,500 to $4,000 per deal, right? So it takes about 90 days of mailing, and then you can start getting about $3,500 to $4,000 per deal. Caveat to direct mail. If you're working a full-time job, I would probably say direct mail is not your biggest answer right now, right? Because you have to answer the phone because they're calling everyone, right? When they get that direct mail, they're calling them, and you have to know how to have those conversations on the phone. So it is down the road, once you're at a more scalable approach, is my opinion. Other people could say you're absolutely wrong, start mailing today. Cool, and it might work for you. That's just my opinion on direct mail.
Do you generally just put your cell phone on there, or have you done anything differently?
We've done, the answering services before. I've kind of tried it all, if you will. I like me answering the phones, because it's just, I know my buy box a little bit better than they can. I think I can have the conversations. I can also stop the tire kickers, that kind of thing. I will tell you, one of my favorite questions that I ask a homeowner if I'm going direct to seller on direct mail or while I'm at their house is, hey, why didn't you call an agent? Because that's going to be one of the rebuttals. So if I can just knock that rebuttal out of the park real quick on the call, and they're like, oh, well, I actually am. My cousin's, an agent. All right. Then I know I'm probably not have as good of a chance with this. Or if they say, oh, because, they're car salesmen and blah, 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 blah. All right. Now I have a much better of a chance. Right. So again, you just learn those things. So that's why I like answering the phone a little bit more.
I like that.
Yeah. Any other questions about direct mail?
What's the biggest reason they yell at you? And can you remember a specific person that yelled at you and why?
Because they think that I'm also calling them. That's what I've got, where they're like, you keep on calling me every day. And I'm like, I've never called you. You called me. But I think they correlate the cold callers with the piece of direct mail. So I get that a lot. Or take me off my list. That was my dead mother's ex-husband. Why are you mailing them again? Your list is horrible. Blah. I'm like, I don't care. It's fine. Right? It blows my mind how much time people have that they will call a piece of junk mail. Get a hobby. I don't know. Like, do something else. Hobby. Exactly. It seems sad to me. That's all I'm saying. Right? Great question. Any other questions about direct mail?
This isn't a question, but something fun I learned this week when Brian and I met with Matt Camp with Deal Machine. You can do phone calls from their system now, and it will take your transcription and gives you AI prompts for where to take the call next. So if you're worried about talking to a seller for the first time and you don't know how to handle that conversation, it literally is like programmed in there to help you with that. So I thought that was a fun tool
Interesting.
that I learned about. I haven't tried it or used it yet, but it's interesting.
That's interesting. I'd see how good that works.
Yeah,
I will also say, be honest. Hey, I'm not used to talking to sellers, but I'm trying to get into this business. You were on a list. If you're not interested to sell, I understand. But if you are, I'd love to talk to you. I think we need more of that relatable honesty these days versus acting like this smooth cold caller or this smooth professional that runs his business. Just be honest, man. I'm just a guy trying to buy houses and I'm brand new at this and somebody told me to mail letters.
You ever get the question, well, how did you get my name? How did you get my phone number?
All the time.
All right.
I've done this. I've been in cold calling and sales and all of that for 20 years now. And the answer has always been the same.
Yeah.
The internet.
One quick little tip I've heard too for cold calling, if you send somebody, obviously you don't know if it's a text or a cell or a home phone, but if you send a text to the number, hey, this is Casey Samuels with FasterFunds, right before you call, when you call them, when your number shows up, it'll say maybe Casey Samuels FasterFunds. So it's already in their like phone is what it looks like, and you're a lot more apt to get a pickup versus just cold calling. They see your number and they don't know if it's spam or whatever. So quick little tip.
Yeah, that's good. I like that.
Yeah, good tip.
Yeah.
Do you have how do you decide what list to send to? Do you kind of figure those out on your own, or you just use list providers or whoever the direct mail company is, or how do you do it?
Yes, I've done it always. Through different coaching programs and coaches I've had in this, I've taken their advice. We've tried to put it together for ourselves. And again, I believe direct mail is an amazing strategy. And I know people who absolutely kill with it. It's not for us.
So you don't do it much.
We don't anymore, right? We've definitely tried it, and we've tried list and, absentee owner and everything like that. And what I realize is, I only want to buy 10 to 12 houses a year. So I'm going to go out and buy 10 to 12 houses a year because my focus is I just have to go find 10 to 12 deals. And if you're clear on your goals and you really back it up and realize how many houses you need to buy a year, then it really goes to show you where you should put your marketing fund and things like that, right? So that's why we've stopped with direct mail. Again, it's an amazing source out there. It's just not one for us. Make sense, guys? Awesome. Zillow. As a real estate agent, I think it's by law, it's part of our bylaws that we have to hate Zillow. And yet, I'm going to say that you can find houses from Zillow to buy. I spent lots of money on a course on how to buy houses, and this one blew my mind, but it's a great strategy. And instead of the for sale houses to buy on Zillow, go to the for rent houses on Zillow. And you're going through there, and it's not necessarily, the houses that are managed and listed by Greater STL Rentals for rent, but it's by Bob, and he has his phone number there, and it's not necessarily the most updated house that he's listing for rent there. Well, I'm calling Bob and see if he just wants to sell it, right? Or I'm emailing Bob, hey, would you rather just sell your house and rent it? That is a great way to find things and to follow up with Bob and keep Bob top of mind when he does want to sell this house, because he's not having it professionally managed. He puts his name on Zillow. So does he even know how to screen for applicants, right? If Bob's the person you have to call on Zillow. So that is a great way to find these deals in your buy box, right? Same with for sale by owner. Call for sale by owners. If you're an agent, you should be calling for sale by owners anyway. If you're not an agent, I would still call for sale by owners and, just walk the house, see what they're looking for, see if they're looking for an as-is deal, right? They're just people out there that you can start calling. Another way is keywords on Zillow. You can search keywords as is or as-is, and you can start finding some of these houses that come up. So these are all really good ways. So Zillow works. And again, in a few minutes, I'll get to my protocol and what I do, but Zillow is a great tool where you can find some deals. All right, so let me back up. I talked about my protocol a couple times. So I have a protocol. If we need a house, right? I learned this from a guy named Abe Shreve, and he's a business coach, but he calls it the 15th protocol, which says you have if-then statements, meaning if I'm not where I want to be on the 15th of the month, I do this to make sure I catch up. So we have it, if I don't have a house and I don't have a house coming up, and we don't have a house we're working on, I immediately will put in 4 to 5 offers a week, every week until I get a house, right? And I will do it on the MLS. I will do it on Zillow. I'll do every one of these. I'm out there searching and looking for a deal, but I'm putting offers in, right? That is my protocol. So for all these people, and we have an average right now, our students are buying a house within the first 30 to 45 days of working with us. That's from getting the LLC set up to getting money in place to finding a deal. That's because they're working at it. I assure you, there is enough houses out there for everybody on this call to go buy a house, as many houses as they want, right? So just start making offers and making a lot of them. Don't worry as much, did I put this right here on the contract, or how do I do this? Just start making connections with people and start making offers, right? All right, yeah. So drum roll. My favorite, what do you guys think my favorite is?
Favorite way to buy houses? Favorite
lead source that we talked about.
Of the top 7 you've gone through?
Yep.
Should we all throw it in the chat?
Sure.
Do it.
So, SOI, Driving for Dollars, real estate agents, wholesalers, Facebook, direct mail, or Zillow. Throw it in the chat.
Oh, this is interesting.
A lot of wholesalers and a lot of SOIs, what it looks like.
Yeah. Yeah. So I probably buy more from wholesalers and SOI than anything, but my favorite is all of them. And that's why I put that in there, because I do all of them. Right? I did, but all of them work, right? And I don't, again, because I'm not looking to buy 300 houses this year, I don't pigeonhole myself into just one lead source. I know I need to go out in 12 houses. Yes.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I have a worthless comment, but I saw Emily's face when you said all of them, and it was priceless. You cannot cheat us out.
Go to and figure out how many houses you want to buy this year, and then go out and start doing these. And you're going to find, again, I'm not looking to buy 300 houses this year. I'm looking to buy 12. So if I wake up every single day in 2025, it's like, oh, I got to go find 12 deals. I got to go find 12 deals. I got to go find 12 deals. And you use these strategies that we talked about, you're going to find them. And if you back it out to see how much, especially if you're more of the flipper or the wholesaler side, and you back it out to see how many hours you put into finding houses and how much money you make, you're paid very, very well, guys.
Yeah.
But you've got to be an acquisition specialist.
How many hours a week or a month, or however you want to define it, do you feel like you spend in acquisitions mode?
It's a great question. And that, not a lot, because we always seem to find deals. Yeah. Now, in the beginning, if we don't have a deal, then it's a lot. I'm 10, 15 hours a week. I'm pounding the pavement. I'm finding deals. I'm bugging the wholesalers and things like that. We've been doing this for, 7 years. So we have wholesalers reach out to us a lot now. Yet, if you are just getting started in this, I tell my coaching people, if you spend 5 to 10 hours a week on acquisitions and finding deals and walking properties, you're going to find a deal. I truly, truly believe that.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I'm going to ask you the same question in a different way. Okay. If you decided you haven't bought a house in a little while, and maybe you've been focused on something else or whatever, and you decide, I'm going to buy a house, and you put a lot of effort into it, how long do you think on average it would take you to find a deal?
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah. And I honestly, I think I could find a deal quicker than that. I was trying to be kind of conservative there, not saying that everyone had the relationships I had.
Yeah, I like that.
Right. But again, I mean, I have the data of, all the people that we're coaching. Within 30 to 45 days of them signing up, they can find a deal. And they have to go through LLC. They have to get approved for money. They have to do all of these things first.
Yeah.
And they're finding a deal. Right. So that's why I believe in those statements. But the only way you can do this is by this one right here. Is make an offer. Guys, I cannot stress this enough. How many people will say, well, they're asking way too much money for it. I'm not even going to look at it. I've never purchased a house without making an offer on it. And I've bought houses that I kind of bought on accident. Right? There was a house in St. Peter's we walked. It was on the MLS. Amy Davidson was the agent. I know her really great. I walk it. And it was a weird house. It was almost like this prefabbed house thing put together. Right? It was just weird. But it was in St. Peter's, right? So I walk in and I'm like, well, I'm going to make an offer, but I don't know if I really want this house, but I'm going to make an offer because it's St. Peter's. And anyway, they took it. I'm like, well, damn, I just bought a house on accident. Anyway, I sold it without even having to replace the kitchen because it was during COVID and things were just crazy and the neighbor wanted it for their kid. Turned out to be a great deal. But because I made an offer.
You ever made an offer and then thinking that there's no way they're going to take that, and they actually take it, and then you go, damn, I can't believe they freaking took that.
All the time. Well, yeah, there's that's St. Peter's house. Again, if it was because it was St. Peter's, I was okay getting the deal. But yeah, there's been times I've made $7,000 offer in God, where is it? Riverview. I can think of the house, Spring Garden. I don't know. But anyway, our window was shut out 3 times. But I bought that house for $7,000, and I was shocked that I bought that house for $7,000. Learned a lot about that. I learned about, you can steal an electric meter out of that house and put it in your house and not pay for electric. That one blew my mind too.
Brick method here.
Yeah, that one really blew my mind. But yeah, so you got to make offers. Guys, there are so many other ways of finding deals. These are just some of the ways that we went through. SEO and SEM is a good one, especially if you're in the long play. SEO can get expensive. Search engine marketing can get expensive. You're also competing with the big dogs. I've tried to market. I have a lot of SEO friends because I used to be in the advertising world. I've tried to get them into real estate to partner with them. So they just do all the SEO for free. None of them have taken me on with it yet, but I've tried. But there are so many different ways to make houses, because really what you're trying to do is you're trying to get people to hear you that you're looking to buy houses, is really what acquisitions is. And then just go make an offer for the numbers that work for you. So if you put in the work, I assure you, you can find deals. Now, they might be different deals. And yeah, I was buying houses, 8 years ago in Florissant for $60,000 that I'm probably paying $115,000 for now. But it's okay because I'm selling them at $200,000 versus selling it at $85,000, right? So things are different, yes, and you still just make the offers because it's still a formula. Makes sense, guys? Awesome. Cool. I know I have a little bit. Guys, I'm in here to help anyone. You can always schedule a call, dustinhoog.com, and a little bit of High School Musical, because apparently Brody likes that show all of a sudden. But we're in this together. And I believe if you understand that you're in this together and you come from an abundance mindset, we can all find houses and we can all do this together. So that's what I got. I will open it up to questions and stop sharing my screen. What do you guys got?
Thanks, Dustin. Anyone got any questions for Dustin?
I don't know that I have questions, but I do have a few takeaways and things that I appreciate you talking about today. Made some notes here. I really like the driving for dollars. And I think that one of the things that I've often think about is we all end up driving around. Sometimes it's just taking like an alternate route home or alternate route to the grocery stores. Like, you don't really have to be professional. And so I think it's just keeping your head on a swivel. At least that's what I try to tell myself. So I think that was a good point of driving for dollars, even if you're not trying to recruit people to drive for you. I love the idea of DoorDash and delivery services. My wife uses the hell out of those people, but I've never thought to stop and talk to them. So I think that was a great point. And then I like, it's a numbers game, right? That you said you're making 4 to 5 offers per week when there's nothing in the pipeline. And I think, myself included, far too often we wait till the pipeline gets dry and then we go, hey, let's go do that work. And I think that's applicable in all things business and life. And I think the key is what you're saying is like, just keep doing that activity. You're waking up, I got to buy 12. As long as you do that activity on the daily, the weekly, the monthly, the 12 are going to come, but you have to make the offers. So I'll wrap up with one question, which is, this is selfish of myself, but you say, don't be a secret agent. Well, there's a lot of people on these calls that do different things, right? You are an investor, you rehab, you buy and hold, you coach, you own a sign company. So talk to us a little bit about hey, Dustin, what do you do? How do you tell somebody, without being that jack of all trades, how do you tell somebody that you do multiple things?
That's a great question. There's a lot I can say to that, but first I start with what I'm a coach for, because that's what I absolutely love doing. So I tell people I started immediately from that I'm a coach, because of the fact that that is my main primary source of things that I do today. My wife's probably more of the real estate investor today than I am, and I'm more of the coach. She will 100% say she's a real estate investor, right? She buys houses, that kind of thing. So I would say the coaching point from that is, what are you wanting to focus on? And that's how you identify yourself, right? So if somebody says, what do you do? Oh, no, I'm a flipper, or I buy houses, or I just buy as is houses, right? That's a big one I would start for. The landlords here, the flippers here, short-term rentals, I just buy houses, right? And then people are always going to say, what does that mean? And then you can go right into it from there. So that's what I would say there. But yeah, it's funny. That's been a training on a different topic and different coaching, but I respond to that as I'm a husband, I'm a father, and I'm a coach. That's what I do. And then people come back into and have all sorts of questions after that. But yeah, great question.
I like it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Got a little bit of a comment, not necessarily a question, but the driving for dollars circle prospecting. One thing I got from my golf partner, Austin Red, that I've been starting to do is, if you buy a house in a neighborhood and you are rehabbing it, go into that neighborhood, drive around, and if you see a driving for dollars house, knock on the front door. Hey, I'm rehabbing a house just around the corner. Just wanted to stop and introduce myself, stuff like that. Austin, it kills it at this game. And from this past year, I'm willing to bet he bought 4 houses from just doing that around the houses that he's already rehabbing. And the cool thing is, he already knows the neighborhood. He already knows the style of rehab that it needs. So just as an add-on for you Drive for Dollars folks, don't forget about the houses that you're already working on and that neighborhood. That's a really good in with the neighbors, to just talk to them.
Yeah, there's a couple things. I don't know how much time we have, but I learned if you have a rehab going on, that is a great way to get other houses. I put bandit signs in our yards of houses we're rehabbing. That tip, I learned that from the 2-day blueprint. We paid for that course a long time ago. That immediately did 6 figures in the next 15 months for us. Just having a sign in the yards we're rehabbing. We're not obviously hanging up bandit signs, on the street corners, but in the houses we're rehabbing. Tim Grimmett, who started out with me on this journey and helped coach me with Brian years and years ago, he talks to the kids in the neighborhood, because he's like, kids know everything. He's like, those kids riding bikes, he's like, I got stacks of cards. They take their cards to their parents. He's like, the kids know everything. Kids know if somebody's living in that house or not living in that house or not living in that house. I'm like, wow, that's pretty good. He buys in a little bit different areas than I do, but yeah. What else?
Well, if someone's trying to buy a house in St. Peter's before the end of the year, I do know a wholesaler that would love to hook him up. 3-bed, 1-bath, currently rented as a Section 8, and looking for 135 on it.
Love it. See, and that's what's talking about not being a secret agent.
I really hate even bringing it up and even being that person, but I'm learning to slowly post on it because I want to do more deals and want to provide people some great value too.
Awesome.
Hey, Dustin, what's your success rate? What's your percentage close from the initial leads to making offers to getting a contract and finally getting to the close, the table?
That is a great question and not one that I can answer on with facts because I've never tracked that data. I will say that I bet I've probably not closed on 2 houses that we've had an offer on. So if I put an offer in and the contract's accepted, we're going to close on it. That's just, we just do that. It's just one of those things. But from lead to close, I don't know. I would say pretty high because, again, most of my lead sources is relationship based, where especially if it's direct to seller, that's kind of more of a referral thing. So we have much higher of a chance getting it. From wholesalers, I don't know. That might be 50%. I would have no idea. We don't track that.
Well, from a student's point of view, they're new, it's a numbers game too.
Absolutely.
It's getting out there and a certain amount of offers are going to get a certain amount of closes. And so, from new people, sometimes they'll get frustrated because they'll find 1 or 2 and it won't go through. And, and really you got to talk to 20 before you get your first one, maybe, you just don't know.
Yeah. I would probably say, on average of the students, I'm trying to think, and I'll definitely write this down to start tracking this. You're buying a house within 20 houses you've walked, right? Again, now, if you're using all the lead sources, if you're just doing, if there's a big wholesaler in town that doesn't take contingent offers and has 75 people at their walkthroughs, if you're just going to that wholesaler's houses, it probably going to take a little bit more before you get that house, because I'm going to do my damnedest to make sure a student doesn't overpay on a house. And, so that's sometimes you make a lot more money by not buying a house. So it depends on what you're doing there. Great question. I'll have to start tracking that.
Maybe it's time to wrap it up. Dustin, you did an awesome job. Thank you so much for sharing that. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, anything you guys can do.
We have 5 minutes left here. I always like to check in on the market. Anybody list a house this week? And if so, how's your activity? Just always curious to how the market is. I think generally I've heard it's a little slow right now, but would love to hear.
Well, I can go. I didn't just list it. It's been, we had it under contract, fell out of contract right before Thanksgiving. So we've had it on the market for 10-ish days. I think we probably had around 7 or 8 showings. We had 1 offer, but it was super low ball offer. We're listed at 325. They came in at 290. So I sent them a counter. So currently waiting to see if they'll take it. But it's been slow.
Anybody else? Thanks, Rach. Anybody else?
I have a student in Florissant that just went under contract. It was had been listed 18 days. Okay. And got 2 offers the same day, 1 FHA, 1 VA. And when he called for best and final, the agents are like, this is ridiculous. It's been listed for 18 days. I'm like, well, I don't know what to tell you. But
did he get near list or at list?
He got list, but he had to pay a little bit of closing costs. That was at a $200,000 price point.
Yeah. Seems pretty common.
Yeah, I listed a rehab of mine last week in Melville Schools, 6 days on the market. Have probably had 10, 12 showings with a lot of people at the open house. Nothing yet. And then I do have a move-in ready listing in Wing Haven. A little bit of an interesting floor plan. It's like the kitchen is upstairs. It's one of the slabs in Wing Haven. So kind of weird, but that one's been listed for 21 days and not really any traction on that. So definitely slow going.
Funky doesn't sell in a slow market.
We have one that's been on the market for a little while in Webster that we just did a price, what do you call it? Price improvement, right? Today. And within 30 minutes have 2 showings booked, 1 today and 1 Friday. So But we're in that 450 price range right now. So it's been much softer, even in Webster, which typically is a hot market for us. It's been a bit soft, and we knew we were overpriced, but hopefully like Dustin just reported, you only need one, no matter how many days on market. So we could be in an interesting situation after this week. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I just listed one in Blackjack, 3-2. Had an open house this weekend. Only had 2 families come by. They like the house. No offers yet. We're at 240 on that one.
That seems like it's been a pretty consistent theme that I've been hearing. It's a little bit slow right now. I think we're back to a more normal winter market. But it'll pick up in this before long, and houses will sell. They'll just have to take a little bit longer to sell. Rachel, you want to wrap us up for today?
Yeah. Well, anyway, thanks everyone for joining us on the call. Dustin, thank you so much. I always appreciate your insights and value. So, Dustin, I wanted to ask real quick, or maybe I'll just put your info in the chat and on the recording for Facebook, but I was going to get your contact info. So I'll just throw it in the chat unless you want to say it.
Yeah, just dustinhoog.com. You can actually schedule a call right there from me.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep, absolutely.
And then we had a couple other vendors that I just wanted to shout out. We had John Morgan on here. So if you guys are looking for cabinets, be sure to reach out to him. Casey, if you're looking for hard money lending. And then also Deal Machine. I know we talked about Deal Machine a little bit. So if anyone's looking to start doing driving for dollars, I can get you guys a link for that. And then anyway, next week.
Jay's on here. Jay with Rock Solid. Make sure
I missed Jay. I knew I was missing someone. Yeah, so if you guys are looking for countertops, Jay is our contact for Rock Solid. They've got awesome Buyers Club pricing as well. So they got a handful of different quartz countertops that we can use. So I think now I got everyone. But anyway, we will see you guys next week. Next week we've got a case study with Andrew Burt on one of his most recent properties. So we'll wrap it up then for the year before the holidays. And just as a final reminder to keep reminding everyone, we have no meetup this month, so don't try to show up to the club next week. But otherwise, we'll see you guys next Wednesday.
Bye, guys.